there is now in American culture an all-out war, not just on men, but on boys too. And it has spilled out from the college campus out into society at large. There's a great piece at American Greatness, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite sources, one of my favorite things to read in the morning. And it's just a nicely turned phrase. And I want to, when I've just read you these few paragraphs, I want to go on and tell you about a 9-year-old drag queen, which has some bearing on this story, and also how your universities are attempting to turn you gay. So first of all, American Greatness. Men are urged to apologize for their mere existence and for the simple fact of being men. And in the same way, boys are taught from early on that they have no worth, or at least that they have less value than girls. In both secondary and higher education, young men are suppressed, while young women are encouraged. This bizarre psychology and pedagogy is designed to destroy boys' understanding of who they are. First, it's designed to destroy the regard they have for themselves. They're asked to see themselves as disposable. Man, who needs them? You go, girl. And they're also encouraged to see themselves as worthless. And we're playing with fire here. This kind of experience can manifest in a few ways among boys as they grow up: anger, depression, and anxiety. If we thought that coping with an overly exuberant male nature was difficult, what do you suppose we will get when we try to undermine it? That's American Greatness. It's a long and very good piece. Well, one of the ways in which the left seeks to undermine traditional masculine characteristics, and nobody is suggesting that all men should indulge their natural desire to smash and fuck everything 24 hours a day, but some of the day it's not a bad idea. One of the ways that the left tries to do this is to rope young boys into not just the trans thing, but also into other forms of sort of transgressive gay culture. Witness Lactatia, the 9-year-old drag queen. Now, Brandon Hilton, who is an owner of an online clothing store, there she is. Lactatia's coming up on screen any second. I'm going to wait so you can see it, actually. Let's find Lactatia. There we go. There is Lactatia, a 9-year-old boy who has been dressed up to look like Sally Cohn. Brandon Hilton is the owner of an online clothing store specializing in erotic clothing, so says The Federalist, recently announced that 9-year-old drag queen Lactatia was his company's newest cover girl. Plenty of you will be vomiting, or already having vomited, picking the sick out of your keyboards, but the left thinks this kind of stuff is to be encouraged. He received an overwhelming backlash from conservatives, who reacted angrily to the appearance of him sexualizing a child, but he responded, "Woke up to countless tweets telling me to kill yourself and calling me a pedo after we announced 9-year-old drag superstar Lactatia as our new House of Man cover girl. If you can't handle a kid in a sequin onesie, maybe the future isn't for you." Amazing, isn't it, that people might have been disturbed by a heavily sexualized 9-year-old boy dressed as a who knows. And I think he's wearing pads, by the way. If you look at that picture on the left, right? If you watch one of these drag shows, and I do watch RuPaul's Drag Race because I like it. They're just a different kind of clown. But doing it to kids is a different thing entirely. If you look at the hips on that 9-year-old boy, I think he's been padded to look more feminine because they have these pads that they wear down the like to pad out their behinds and pad out their thighs. It's because men don't look like women in dresses.
Yeah.
So you have to add a bit of heft in various places so that the clothes hang right. I think they've padded him. I don't know if they've tucked him, and if you want to know what tucking is, I'm going to leave you to Google that yourself. But I think they've padded his thighs out to make him look more feminine.
Do you think maybe they think it's okay because it was originally a boy?
I don't know what they think.
They're just crazy, man.
Here's what the Federalist has to say about it. Children expressing sexuality or gender identity that deviates from the norm are viewed as proof that deviancy is inborn. So the Federalist argument is that this kind of thing helps to perpetuate the born this way mythology. Well, what we know for sure is that sexuality, like gender identity probably, is a mixture of nature and nurture. What we know for sure is if when men grow up gay, as most of the boys who experiment with wearing dresses and wearing their hair long and saying, "Mom, I think I might be a girl," when you leave most of those boys alone, they grow up into perfectly well-adjusted gay men, unless you intervene by giving them hormones and cutting off their genitals. What the left enjoys doing is parading sexualized children around in the clothes of the other sex because it, in some way, helps to it helps to encourage us to believe that this stuff happens from birth and free of cultural influences, which we know isn't true. A society more likely to accommodate inborn traits than freely made adult choices, says the Federalist. Well, they go on and they say, while LGBT Americans have full rights and are arguably widely celebrated in every sector, I can confirm, Mr. Federalist, I don't think the guy is gay, but I can confirm you're absolutely right, we are. The LGBT left is fixated on encouraging sexual expression in ever younger children. They genuinely believe they are helping these children by allowing them to be themselves in an environment free from judgment or repression. Well, one group of people who are not encouraged to be themselves and celebrate their identity is the poor, much maligned straight white male. If you go to Ohio State, your school is trying to turn you gay. Masculinity simultaneously harms yet privileges men. The new syllabus on white heterosexual masculinity claims. College Fix reports that a class taught this spring at Ohio State University will review a parade of reasons why white heterosexual masculinity is allegedly problematic, tackling the topic from the constructs of racial issues, bullying, pop culture, societal expectations, and much more according to its syllabus. The course, which is called Be a Man, Masculinities, Race, and Nation, includes a variety of readings including a required textbook by C.J. Pascoe called Dude, You're a Fag, which analyzes masculinity as not only a gendered process, but a sexual one. Your guess is as good as mine. Other assigned reading excerpts include Masculinity as Homophobia by Michael Kimmel, Advertising and the Construction of Violent White Masculinity by Jackson Katz, Dude Sex, Dudes Who Have Sex with Dudes by Jane Ward, Looking for My Penis by Richard Fung, Sodomy in the New World by Jonathan Goldberg, and Teaching Men's Anal Pleasure by Susan Stiritz. The class is also expected to screen Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. The university says this course, designed to be both scholarly and practical. On a scholarly level, students will trace the scholarly debates about masculinity and understand how these questions have emerged out of feminist and queer research. On a practical level, this knowledge may help students understand the ideologies they encounter in daily life. In turn, this understanding may help students navigate the pressures, exclusions, and violence they face in order to enhance their own well-being and others. Well, this is not academia. This is therapy. And there's a particular kind of therapy culture designed to appeal to people who are terrified of their own masculinity or terrified of it in others. But one thing it is not is a serious inquiry into the differences between men and women, or anything remotely helpful rather than simply a hateful, divisive, politically driven bunch of bullshit. This is not academia.